Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Louise, the CEO and founder at HelloMaaS. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you, Christian.
Nice to meet you. Please tell us what your company does.
So my name is Louise Doorn. I'm the founder CEO of HelloMaaS. It's marketing as a service. It's a platform where we curate the top of the bill marketing freelancers in Europe. And then we build a whole platform to offer flex teams to larger organizations to make sure they have the right skills on demand inside their own in-house teams.
Okay, and can you please expand on that? What is the difference between companies hiring somebody in-house or an agency or going to your service, to marketing as a service?
Exactly. We're kind of the third option between the first two options that everybody knows. And the reason why is that marketing is changing at the speed of light. When I started my career, which is almost 20 years ago, there were 5 channels. Right now, there are more than 50. There are over 10,000 MarTech tools, and now you have AI as well impacting the marketing function. So it's highly specialized, and understanding where to play and how to play requires also deep knowledge in tech, in data, and in certain channels. And you don't always need to have those skills inside your own organization, but you want to have them on demand. And this is what we build at HelloMaaS.
That's fantastic. And how would you categorize your services? How can you explain it to the audience?
Yeah, we're kind of a hybrid between a freelancer marketplace and a SaaS platform. So we have a subscription service. We also sell packages, which is basically an e-commerce proposition where you can buy results on marketing services. And then the SaaS opportunity is for clients to kind of have this ongoing model where they have certain skills on demand for a flat fee per month.
So they pay a subscription anytime they need an expert, they can go directly and they have that already paid, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What would you say is the biggest problem that you solve for companies?
For our clients or for ourselves?
Yes.
Yeah, for our clients. Well, for our clients, it's a couple. There's really a war on talent, which got accelerated during COVID. A lot of marketers, they are in high demand, and they also understand their market value. So they would like to work more independently, more freely, and also more remotely. So in order to have the access to these top skills, you kind of need to look for alternatives beyond hiring everybody on your payroll or going to agencies, because agencies have the same problem as the in-house teams have. You know, a lot of people just want to work independently. So we're kind of that third opportunity that kind of sits in between agencies and in-house teams that allows you to basically build a flexible layer of, skills on demand or just marketing results on demand, because that's also what we offer with our packages.
Okay. And what are the use cases of the product?
Yeah, we kind of go across the entire depth and width of the marketing function. So we have identified 75 skills inside, our platform and also inside the profiles of our freelancers that allows us to match algorithmically a lot faster. And then also we looked inside those 75 skills, what is the highest search volume? And we basically created 35 packages on top of the 75 skills on demand. So these are kind of the things that we offer. Our clients are predominantly larger corporate organizations that have large marketing teams that kind of are struggling with the war on talent, or they kind of would like to have more access to innovative MarTech or marketing data kind of skills, but also the softer side like creative and content. And they would like to kind of leapfrog and not always go to an agency, because there's a lot of agile development right now in marketing teams, and also in-house they need to do more in-house. So in order to do that, you need to recalibrate your organization to actually have people that do things and not just outsource stuff to agencies. And this is where our model plays in really nicely, because you kind of bring that execution power and that brain power inside the organization. And you can do that for a short period of time. Like right now, we're working with a very large pan-European fashion retailer that really needs to accelerate a lot of their digital program. And we can really get these people up and running within 2 to 4 weeks. And they can stay for 6 months if that's needed, in order to really boost a strategic program. But often what you see is that it kind of continues to stay longer, but you have the opportunity then scale up and scale down. So initially you might start with like a full-time engagement, but then you can trickle it down to maybe 1 or 2 days a week. So it's also very interesting for the P&L and the cost structure of those larger organizations.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for explaining. And now I'd love to hear your favorite customer success story.
Oh, that's a great question. We have quite a few. We also love to work with scale ups, companies that got to product market fit and now are trying to scale beyond other markets. And there is a mobility company in the Netherlands that allows basically scooters on demand. So you can hire a moped and just kind of make your way around to Amsterdam in case you don't want a bike. And that company, even though it's not one of our biggest clients, they really understood our model very well. And they said, hey, we need copywriters with certain skills in certain markets. We don't need them on the payroll. We don't need them for 5 days a week, but we know we want to have really, really good people. And we want to work iteratively with them because we're doing a lot of performance marketing campaigns and we want to make sure we update the copy as we go. And this is where you kind of need that specific skill set. Bring that in-house when you need it, and really have good marketing return on advertising spend in this case, because you have that very specific skill set on demand. So this is one example, but another one is just larger organizations that are going through massive transitions. Everybody needs to become digital. You need to infuse customer success with e-commerce and marketing, and how you do that on a strategic scale. We're working with the premier training company and a train company, transportation company as well in the Netherlands. And they have a huge marketing team, but they really needed to have a vision on what their team looks like in 2025. And how do you do that with, all the challenges that we just explained? So they came to us for kind of more of a management consulting assignment. We co-created, a team of people that have very strong strategic skill sets in that. And based upon that, we kind of have a whole bunch of work streams that allows their in-house team to accelerate work better with their agency and really get to the next level of what their organization looked like in 2025. So those are kind of two on top of my head that I really enjoyed. But to be honest, every client has a specific use case. And the good thing is that we have very high retention rate and a long duration. So I guess that shows that there is a need for this model.
Absolutely. I appreciate the transparency. Now, more on the pricing side, where does it start?
Yeah, so we kind of have a pricing that is comprised of two elements. So we have kind of a subscription service, which is a kind of SaaS, but we're not a 100% SaaS company. We also have a margin that is kind of sits as an arbitrage between the fee of the freelancer and what we charge to the client. We're very transparent around that. And also we build a benchmark rate card of freelancer fees across those 75 skills. So we know that the margin that we put on top of the freelancer fee is actually very is marked against the benchmark rates. So this is where you kind of know as a client that you're not paying too much, and often they don't even know the benchmark. So we're kind of facilitating in pricing transparency there. Then we have the packages, which is basically a fixed fee that you have a fixed scope, and you really need to kind of upfront talk with the client and the freelancer through the scope, so everybody knows what is expected and also what is not in scope. And this is a model where we also have a cost structure with a margin that is shared partly with the freelancer, but also it's a revenue stream towards HelloMaaS.
And are you the first company to invent this model as marketing as a service? To be the third solution in the market?
Yeah, I think we're not like 100% unique in what we do because there's tons of freelancer marketplaces. I think the way we kind of are very focused on just the marketing vertical, and we're not just a freelancer marketplace, we're actually trying to solve a marketing problem. So we're more focused on results rather than just selling hours. I haven't seen that to the extent into the market that we've done. I've seen, after we launched in 2019, I've seen very specific use cases coming to the market. For instance, designers that say, hey, you can buy all the design you want for a fixed fee per month. So this is kind of a part of what we offer. But I think what we do in the breadth and the width of the entire marketing function, I haven't seen it to the extent that we're doing it. But it doesn't say that it's not out in the market. I don't try to be, pound chesting towards that extent. So if any listener hears about another company that's doing what we're doing, I'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And now I'd love to hear when did you start the company exactly?
Well, I started it already in my head in 2010 when I was, a CMO and a marketing
Oh,
executive at large organizations because I've been managing teams, building teams, and always I felt there is a scarcity principle in how I could build my team. It's either people that are, in the location of where the office is, that can come into the office, and I'm kind of limited to these people in that location with those skill sets. And the same is with agencies, depending on how big you are, there's certain size of agencies that you can work with. So there is also a scarcity in talent and a scarcity in people, how you can work. Whereas if you kind of look at the internet, the whole model is based around abundance. There's so many highly skilled people all around the world. And if they understand, your cultural context, they could work remotely as good as a local person could. Actually, I think it's an opening up for people to have more equality in the way they can get a great career going on. So this is where I wanted to embrace that abundance program. But at the time, the internet and social media wasn't like evolved to the extent that it was a little bit later on. So it felt for me much more natural after I progressed a little bit more in my career to actually take the jump and then start HelloMaaS in 2019.
awesome, awesome. Wow. And how big is your team right now?
Oh, we're actually a pretty small team because we let the algorithms run a lot of our business. We've invested a lot in our platform. Really look at the customer journey, try to run everything through the platform. So we're really trying to be efficient in the way we run, and we really are aiming for like a high revenue per employee, because at the end, it's all about scalability and making sure that you can run your operations really efficiently. And this is where I've been looking a lot to large, freelancer marketplaces to see how their operating model is at. But what we
Hmm.
noticed with those larger kind of platform is that a lot of the clients don't like the full automation. So this is why we're offering that subscription service where you can have, for instance, happiness check-ins with our team. So every 2 weeks, you get an automatic email whether you like the happiness, and we actually build up our data set in order to also have that as a rating. It's just 360 rating into our algorithmic matching. But a lot of the clients also like to have just a conversation with us and together with the freelancers to
Yes.
make sure that we're not just robots that doing work and fill in an algorithm. It's also just about the creativity and the humanity that sits in it. So this is kind of where we found the blend between human interaction and artificial smartness. And this is where I kind of build our team around as well. But we do that very effectively. So this is where we still operate and we can actually continue to grow every quarter with not growing our headcount.
Are you bootstrapped or did you raise any funding?
We raised money. We raised money from a VC and also from the Hearst Corporation. It's a big publisher in New York, and we have a couple of industry angels as well, both from the US as well as from the Netherlands.
Hmm. I understand. And are you the only founder?
I am, yeah. I'm a single founder.
Awesome, awesome. What did you say was your biggest challenge since 2019, since starting the
Well,
company?
COVID wasn't great. Well, actually it was, but then it wasn't. It's kind of, it really kind of dribbled down. Sometimes it really accelerated the business and sometimes it put it on a hold, particularly in the beginning. So that was a bit of a challenge. Um, I think also for me, because I moved in New York and I moved back to Amsterdam just prior to COVID, but I was always planning to be in two locations. I kind of was forced. So this was personally kind of a big challenge. And as a single founder, I think it has a lot of advantages being a single founder, but it also definitely has a lot of disadvantages. So I benefited from the advantages, but also from the disadvantages. So this is what, I'm thinking a lot about. Is it a good thing or not? Luckily, I've built a really good team and also a really good group of advisors around me from day one, because I also invest in other startups, and I saw that companies that have a very good advisory board, ideally with some angels that also put some money in there, it can really accelerate your business and open a lot of doors, and that really worked well for me as well. So I don't think there is one perfect solution. I think it's always about finding what fits with you, and sometimes you're restricted with timing or budgets or other things. But I'm glad where we are today.
Thank you for sharing. And what did you say was the biggest mistake that you did?
I think we could have done a little bit more. We actually built a whole slew of products at the same time. So we have a Flex Team solution, which is doing extremely well. Then we have a packages solution, which the product market fit for that, particularly because we thought it was all going to be 100% automated. And it turned out for this target audience, which is the higher tier of the SMB market, it requires a lot more hand-holding actually than the larger corporate organizations. The business model just didn't really materialize to the extent that we thought it. And then we also built a playbook, which is basically helping the smaller organizations to understand where to play and how to play in an automated fashion. It's basically, the brain power of a CMO for free. So we built 3 products in parallel. That was a bit too much. I think I really pushed the product and the tech team in that. And at the end, I think we should have maybe launched one product first, kind of see how the go-to-market goes for that, and then build another product. I just personally love building the product. As a former CMO, I just think in my next life, I probably want to be a CPO. But, that's all about also discovering the journey. But in retrospective, we're a cash flow positive business now. We have very premier clients. We don't need to raise any more money. So in that regard, we did really well. But I think if we just focused on one product, and particularly, of course, the Flex Team product, I think we would have been a lot bigger even today, because we also allocated quite a lot of time into those other products that just didn't really materialize to the extent that the other one did.
Thanks for sharing. And now on the marketplace problem, how did you get your first customers? How did you solve the chicken and egg problem?
Yeah, it's a good one. Well, luckily, I have a very extensive network because I've been a chief marketing officer, and also because I started a podcast in 2019. Where very few people in the Netherlands were doing a podcast. And because of my network, also the network of my advisors, I invited CMOs, particularly the ones with notable brand names behind them, to be the guest in my podcast. And I did it together with a big publisher that got a lot of unique content, for free. But they have a lot of distribution, so I didn't need to build the distribution myself. And this was really great because also the CMOs themselves published a podcast on their LinkedIn, which got incremental reach. So this was really good for not just distribution and reach, but also for social proof. So this was a really good accelerator, and we got quite a lot of clients through that, and very much a high brand recognition that we otherwise wouldn't have had if you just needed to put paid media against it. Actually, we haven't done any significant paid media till date. So it's all through organic or happy clients that we are growing.
That's really good. And in the past, what did you say was your most effective go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, it's this part, and it's also just account-based marketing through LinkedIn. So being very specific around LinkedIn Sales Navigator options and trying really to automate a part of that for outreach. And then just, opening up to ask for product feedback. In the Netherlands, people are very curious. They'd love to kind of give their opinion as well because they're very opinionated and they have a strong opinion and they're not shy to voice it. But it's actually great because you actually get real honest feedback. It's not sugar-coated, and it really helps you to kind of get the tweaks out of the initial releases. So that helped a lot. And then often when you had these validation calls, people are actually saying, hey, it looks really interesting. We're actually looking for these kind of skill sets. We can't find them. We don't want to hire them for always, or they're too expensive to put on a payroll. Can you help us? So this has proven to be a very good first step. And actually, we got to a CAC LTV ratio of 1 to 12, which is really, really good. And a close rate for 4 weeks, which is in the B2B space that we operate very close as well. So that showed that, at that time, particularly early 2022, we really were at a bleeding edge of how fast we could grow.
I'm super happy for you. It seems like everything is going fantastic. And now more on the future side. What is the vision for HelloMaaS?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm currently talking to a couple of strategic partners in order to scale the company beyond the Netherlands, because the Netherlands is a great country to scale to do product market fit. And it's a relatively large company, but it's not the size of the US, obviously. So I've been looking strategically on how can we grow, and obviously you can raise money through VC. But also you can do it through strategic partners that already have the network, they already have the brand names, and they have similar kind of problems that our clients have. So we are in conversations with partners that fit that bill, and I'm pretty hopeful that I'm going to be able to close a partner that is a good culture fit as well, to basically take the tech, take the community, and take the operating model, and then blueprinted it across other markets, so we can scale a lot faster than if we had to build all these country organizations and country communities ourselves.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. I'm rooting for you. And now for more on the personal side, I love to hear how you started your career
My
after
career.
college, let's say.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Yeah, I went to college when I was very young. I finished my bachelor in economics when I was 19, and I did that because my father said when I
Wow.
was 16 and I wanted to travel the world, he said, "Well, you can, but first you have to have some kind of decent education." So I thought, okay, let's do something that is not difficult for me. So I finished the bachelor, and then when I was 19, I was actually backpacking in Greece because I already left. So that was a lot of fun. I traveled the world for 2.5 years, and I have to say I learned a lot more than I did at my bachelor's when I traveled the world, because it was also when internet and social media wasn't that ubiquitous, so you were really immersed into the local countries and with the local communities and the other travelers. So it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. And then once I got back, I decided to pursue my studies and do a master's in what was called at the time new media. It was also part artificial intelligence, which at the time was nowhere near to what it is today. So it was kind of a blended study, but it was really a lot of fun. And then I joined my first startup, and it was a portal for expats that live and work in the Netherlands. Really interesting because there were great founders from Canada and the US, and they launched it. So I learned a lot early stage on kind of how to do that. Then moved my career to a much larger internet organization. It was AOL, Time Warner at the time. And there I had a lot of skill and started to work internationally. And from there on, I really progressed my career. I've been working for Philips, where I built a global social media operating model in 60 countries together with the CMO. Then I moved to New York in 2011, where I worked with Publicis and Samsung to kind of build a similar thing for Samsung, also doing a lot of global marketing operation models. And then I moved in-house at JP Morgan Chase, also in New York, where I built together with a couple of colleagues an in-house agency team of 120 people. So I have a lot of experience
Okay.
around building those kind of operating models. And then, after all those kind of experiences, I thought, let's take a jump. And after investing in early stage startups and working with the founders as a kind of fractional CMO on demand, I learned a lot on how it is to work with very limited resources. And then I thought, okay, I just want to jump on the opportunity and do something that I feel strongly about. So that's a little bit about my career.
Wow, that's lovely and a lot of experiences. Thank you so much for sharing. What's your favorite SaaS product, or shall I say top three? Because I guess you use multiple software products.
Yeah, I use quite a lot. I mean, Riverside, the tool that we are using right now to record the podcast, we've also used it, and I really like it. I think they're also getting a lot smarter around using AI, in order to create all the different brand assets out of podcasts. And I was one of their first clients, so I really like to see how they evolve the product and the service over time. Um, we've been doing a lot of research around AI marketing, and there is this tool called Firefly AI. which is a tool that you can basically invite into your meetings, and it takes notes, and it gives a very good
Yes.
transcription. But also what I like is that you combine it with HubSpot, and then you basically can parse on via a Zapier into your HubSpot all the tasks and to-dos out of those meetings. So I think it's all about, giving you time to be focused at the meeting. You're not being it's not needed anymore to take any notes. So I really like that tool as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. I have one last question. What's your best piece of advice for a starting founder?
Pooh, that's a good one. I get asked quite a lot for that. I think you shouldn't romanticize what it is to launch a startup. I'm also in a group of other founders, and we meet each other every month to kind of talk about the challenges that you face, because you will face a lot of challenges. And it's also very personal. You have to do so many things at the same time, and you kind of need to protect also your private space. You need to protect your own mental health. So I think a lot of people maybe get kind of caught up in this hustle culture that sits around being a startup founder. I personally don't like it a lot, but I've been, influenced by it as well. And I think you just need to tread very carefully, but also you need to understand that you're in it for the long haul. It's not a job that you can just exit. Obviously, you can exit your company, but at the early stage, a lot of the success is around the founder. Having the opportunity to raise enough money, but not too much and not too little. Also, I think having that balance, because a lot of people celebrate on LinkedIn like, oh, I raised 30 million. I'm like, whoa, you got a lot of debt and a lot of people that want something of you. And you basically need to stick, another 5 to 7 years into the company. And that can be perfectly well. And also looking at kind of your own equity position as a founder, because I know a lot of founders that are diluting very early on because they take money at unfavorable terms. And then at the end, if you raised a lot of money, but your equity position is diluted or the terms are not that great, you may actually end up with not so much if you have a liquidity event. So also there, I think really inform yourself around the financial side of your own equity and your position is recommended.
I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for joining. I'm super grateful, and thank you for the value that you provide to the community.
Yes, very happy. Thank you so much for inviting me, and want to congratulate you on doing an excellent job with high velocity, very specific content from other great founders. So keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.